Hi, my name is Bobby Newman. I'm the founder and CEO of Newman Intervention Services, and we are putting together a series of videos called the 25 Tips for a Successful Intervention. Today's topic is intervention tip number 2, assembling your intervention team. It's very, very important to put together the proper team of people that's going to help you get your loved one into treatment. The intervention tip number 1 was finding the right treatment program. And so we went through the process of that, and that's the first step we take. But in the initial phone call, when people call our hotline, usually they don't have a program lined up. So we get that out of the way, but through the course of the conversation, the initial assessment, we find out who all the players are going to be involved with getting this person into treatment. Is there any brothers and sisters? Is there how many parents are there? Is there 2 sets of parents? Is there grandma and grandpa? Is there any cousins? Anybody involved? We kind of want to get the lay of the land. So after we get the treatment program lined up and we get this approved, now usually we're dealing with one person, and usually sometimes that person actually can help finance the program or pay for any type of expenses that would be incurred during getting your loved one treatment. Sometimes they're not. So what we do is we try to go through the pecking order of who's the next person we can talk to. Who's okay if there's a grandfather or a father or someone who may help, but we're not quite sure. Who's the opinion leader of that person? So we kind of go through the order so we can actually properly assess how we're going to handle this particular situation. There's a sequence of events that need to take place, and having a very strong group in your corner is very important. It's going to be hard enough to actually get your loved one into treatment. We're going to be dealing with all the emotions, the pent up. A lot of times the addiction's been going on for 10, 15 years or a significantly long time, and it's going to be a lot of emotions involved, and people get caved in. They actually have so much force that comes back at them when they try to deal with this addict that they become very apathetic about it. So we have to kind of run a little therapeutic process to get their willingness to confront this issue up. And we can't have anybody coming in after we start putting these plans together and we put things in place. We can't have anybody coming in that's going to take the wind out of our sails, so to speak, and take our legs out from under us. We've got to be able to put this together very effectively. I could tell you stories about, I've gone into families and everybody's on board, and we have the best. I'm going to bring the best friend in. When I go and do an intervention, I want to lay eyes on everybody that's going to be involved, because I take 100% responsibility in getting your loved one into treatment. And if that means having to weed out some of the team members, then that's what my job is, because I take this very seriously and I know what's involved. I've taken the word of family members a lot of times, and with the good intention of, they're totally fine. Well, there's a lot of emotions that come to the surface within the family dynamic and when the circle of friends that come to the surface in a time like this. And so we just have to be able to proceed with caution, and we don't necessarily have to do this in a fashion that is going to be offensive to anybody or anything like that. We just want to make sure that with an intervention, you've got one shot. I mean, you might have 2 shots at it, but the second one's going to be much harder than the first. So we've got to put together a really good team. Sometimes, treatment centers have called me and said, we want you to go out and do an intervention on Billy, and his mom wants to do the intervention, but Dad's not on board, but don't worry about him. Well, that's not going to happen. I actually have to go get Dad on board, because what happens is if you don't have everybody rock solid on getting your loved one into treatment, your loved one is going to go to the point of least resistance. So if he gets any agreement out of anybody that he didn't have to go to treatment, because that addiction is going to overpower everything. That addiction is going to take control of him. It's controlling him already. It's controlling the entire family, and we're trying to get the reins back. We're trying to take back control. So we're going to get a little pushback on that. So we actually have to go in with good control and and proceed with confidence and with persistence, and that has to emanate throughout the team. Right? So what we have to do is we go in, we get everybody on board, and I'll sit down with the team members before we actually do the intervention. The addict knows nothing about it. Anybody on the team cannot tell your loved one that we're actually going to do an intervention, because he's going to figure it out quick enough. As soon as we're in the living room or in front of him, he's going to know what's going on. And if we do our job right, we've got about a 85 to 90% chance that he's going to go into treatment. He's going to get the help that he needs, and he's going to stop the madness. With that said, we have to evaluate our team members, and we have to get everybody on board. We have to get all the questions answered. We can't have any doubts or reservations about what we're doing. We have to, any questions about the treatment program, because we're only as strong as the weakest link. And if we've got somebody out there, we've got a grandma that's going to go into agreement with the person as soon as he starts pitching a little bit of a fit and wants to cave in, then we've got to handle grandma, because like I said, we've got one shot at this. And the second time, if we have, because he's not going to stop using drugs or alcohol, and he's going to keep going, and it's actually going to get worse after this. So we have to push through, and for his sake, get him through this. I've been able to work with some of the greatest people in the country, and once I actually explain to them what we need, what the tools are and what the methods are, the mechanics of an intervention are, the family and the friends will actually put together the plan. They actually, oh, okay, that's what we need, then they'll start figuring it out. So we go through the 5 stages of the intervention: the planning, the preparation, the execution, and then the introduction of the consequences if they say no. That's after we've executed. And then the 5th, in the worst case scenario, is actually continuing to hold the bottom line on if they refuse to go. But the first, we're in the planning stage and the preparation stage, and we can't get to the execution stage and have somebody yank our legs out from under us. And I've had that happen. I've had a family friend come in, oh no, she's my best friend. She's gonna, she's here to help. She's been through this with her own son. Well, the fact is, the mother of this young man actually had resources to send her son to a very effective program, but it was a private paid program. The friend of hers did not. So she sabotaged what we were doing because of her own issues with what was going on. And I had met with the family the day before we went over and did the intervention. And then she came in the day of, and there she is. And she sabotaged the whole thing. So we cannot have that happen. We have to have everybody that's going to be involved be totally rock solid and on board with what we're doing, and then we move in, because you're only as strong as your weakest link. And we have to, so again, if there's any questions, we can definitely give us a call, 866-989-4499. But we went over intervention tip number 1 is finding the right treatment program and getting that rock solid. And then actually starting to assemble your intervention team and going through that. Now, we're going to actually go through intervention number 3, which is unifying your team, getting everybody on the same page and making sure that we're actually moving forward effectively. So that's our first 2 intervention tips: are find the right treatment program and assemble your intervention team. And so if you have any questions, please give us a call, 866-989-4499. Again, 866-989-4499. Thank you.